Namaste, namaste, family of light. We are here in Sarasota, Florida, home of the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light. I'm Reverend Sharone-Elizabeth, also known as Baba Sharone. We're so excited to be here as we have beautiful, beautiful light workers right here at the Cosmic Center and our sanctuary area, which is a port of light. Those who walk in here know, like, whoa, what's this energy? We've been doing this for a very long time, working with the ascended realms of light. And we also have a beautiful group of very powerful light workers that are on Zoom. And those that are on Zoom, along with those that are here in person, will be participating in the anchoring light transmission meditation. We say transmission, not just the meditation, because clearly there's energies that do come from the ascended realms of light. And so that's more, we all hold this as a container together, those that are connected by the heart and the mind of service. That's why we're here, what? To anchor light to the planet. And I want to talk a little bit about that to all of our light workers, including those that are on Facebook. And I want to say something to our Facebook Live light workers. You guys are like responding like, yay. And so our reach is going out further and Facebook. And you know, the first thing is I have my beautiful Roxy here knows I had to get beyond my fear. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be out there in the front. You know, we all have our fears. And somebody said, what, you shy? Like, yeah, when I was a kid, I was very shy. But this is how we get past our perceived limitations, because it's really true. How you think it, I said, if you think something can happen, it will happen. If you think it can't, it won't. That's how powerful we are. So when we become aware of the power that we hold as what? Divine creators, made in the image and the similitude, okay, of the creator. And just as we see creations around us, we're part of that. We create too. Whichever way we're going to put our attention and intention, my recommendation is one, seek those parts of yourself that need to be healed to put more light into it. Become aware that you are a powerful being. That's number one. The program has been you're less than, you're not as smart as, okay, you're not as good enough. All of that's been generations. Okay, we have to start to wake up and say, wait a minute. Okay, if I have the divine spark of the creator, and no matter what's going on in this world, just look at the world and how beautiful it is. The symbiotic relationships and the harmonics of the kingdoms of the earth, the mineral, the plant, the animal, the human, things that are beyond. What about our physical body? And even though there may be some flaws in the creation of that, look how amazing it works. So you have to start to expand your thinking, and it's called critical thinking for yourself. Now, I've been harping on this for a while, okay? And, you know, my thing is to question everything. Question everything. Because we are programmed, indoctrinated, okay, coming into birth. Hi, this is your name. This is the country you're born in. Here's a social security. You can't even sign your name yet. You're assigned a number. Okay. And I want to tell, okay, another level of stuff that people, I was always wondering, like, why do they want to know all this information? Couldn't just say, hi, I'm human. What about that? Human. Okay, Homo sapien. Isn't that good enough? But no, they want to go into a lot more details, your origin. All has to do with bloodlines and another layer of stuff that we don't have a clue about or did not. But as I've always said, in the age of Aquarius, all those things that have been hidden, okay, are now coming to light. As I've always said, okay, that, you know, before, and God bless those scholars and those researchers that really had to go like into the caves and looking for old manuscripts and changing them and putting them into, not, well, some of them did change it, but others, hopefully the ones of integrity, did write it the way it was supposed to be. Okay, and so we have some glimmers of information that we were not privy to before. Okay, now I tell you what did it for me. Okay, I was brought up Catholic, and there's so much good in that. All of us that come, it's not the organization in whichever you choose to worship and love God. There's a part of us that's so strong that is about loving God with all our heart and with all our soul. And we feel that that's innate in our DNA. Okay, but then you have other layers of things, hierarchies. Okay, where you have to see, well, you have to look at the world as it is. Jesus Christ said there was the mixture. Yeah, we have the light, but there's also the dark. Or I like to say service to others, us, and service to self. But then you begin to realize that it's not just done on this level, it's on other levels as well. So then you have to say, well, really, has human nature changed that much in the past, I don't know, 5,000 years? They're going back to ancient Egypt, all the way back. It just came from a trip to Arkansas Hot Springs, a divine directive to grid program the enlightened vibration into one of the second largest deposits of quartz crystal in the world, because that was abused by who? The Atlanteans. Like, oh, guess what? We have power. We're in charge. We could do this. Pride, 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 and boom, downfall. So, for those of us that become aware that we are way more than this physical body, I mean, like way more, the action is in the invisible realms. That's where the action is. Okay. And as you pierce through the illusions, as you pierce through the delusions, you begin, and absolutely, as Jesus Christ said, knock. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open until you begin to make known the unknown. And I want to tell you something. One of the things that the Gnostics said, and also Thoth. Now, Thoth is Egyptian God, small g, because the big G God is way out beyond all of this stuff. So just think Elohim was Elohim, several gods, created gods, just a group of us sitting over here. We're all creators, right? You're going to create that. I'm going to create this. So we have to start thinking in terms, critical thinking skills. Really good to have a left brain, because sometimes the intuitive mind is like, well, I feel this way, but why? And then the left brain begins to do it. So ideally, we have a balanced brain to figure everything out. Right now, one is more dominant than the other. What if we had the bicameral, that balanced brain, right? And the single eye that Jesus spoke of, where you're really clear. It isn't this back and forth duality. It's very for the single eye to be see clarity. And I would say, based on my experience, okay, like, okay, going to Arkansas, there was a divine directive. Now, can anybody get a divine directive? Absolutely. It's called your intuition. And the more you use it, the more tapped in you and the more clear it becomes. It's a spiritual muscle. And then you have to go beyond what? Fear and limitation. Isn't that the cage of the mind? The cage of the mind is your own thoughts. Gee, I can't. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have those skills. Everybody has skills. And nobody can take the place of the skills you have, because only you can do what you do. You have that unique puzzle piece that only you can do. And what if we all stepped up, got past our fear and said, I don't care if it's going across the grain, because most of us here, okay, we've been that lone wolf, or we've been that black sheep, or we've been the crazy one because of how we thought. And I always tell the young people, you're not crazy. The world is crazy. That's what's crazy. We came here to change that. If it doesn't make sense, it does not make sense. Right? Remember ourselves as little kids. Like, how come that doesn't seem right? It doesn't seem fair. What about, I remember in school in geography, you saw the continents. It didn't look like one thing was what should have been like a puzzle piece in. But I remember they said, nah, that's not real. At least when I was going to school, I don't know if they changed it since then. I'm like, but it looks like it should be that way. But indoctrinated to say, we're the authority. We know, hand your power over to us. We will tell you what's going on. And that's how we've all been. But there's always that gnawing side, a little gnaw. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I feel good about this. I don't know. No, go ahead, kill all the people in the name of whatever. We already know what's going on the planet. And I have always said, okay, war, okay, and sending family to war to risk one's life. What mother says, oh, I want to do that? It doesn't matter where you're from. They're like, no, no. And then you have to go back to the humanity. We are the Adamus, the Adam Kadmon. We are the divine human. And this is what separates us from everything else. We hold the divine spark, listen to this, of what the Gnostics calls the pleroma. Because there are other levels of creations and creational gods with a little g. And then you have to really begin to understand things from a cosmic perspective, because you can't understand it if you're looking at it on a regular physical experience. Because you have to come to the understanding that you are not just this. You are an interdimensional being that is way broader, higher, and coming from a perspective that goes way beyond this physical body. You may get glimpses of it in dreams or sparks of inspiration, and some have some paranormal experiences that can't explain it. But these are little things to say, wake up, there's more, wake up. Now, what can we do now as light workers in current events? We know what's going on. We don't have to go into details. We are aware of what's going on. I would say for light workers, everybody has their role and things to do. You have those people that say we must resist. You have those people that have a role, okay? You have those people say, I feel I have to go and help people that are starving. I feel whatever that is for you, okay? But I would say that a lot of light workers, okay, those of us, okay, that are becoming more brave and courageous to walk our own path, coming directly. It's called gnosis. Gnosis. Nobody has to teach you anything. It's your own path, and you come to an awareness. And I will say this, all my life from a kid, I wanted to figure out what was going on because I knew something was wrong. I knew, like, no, this is not, why am I here? And that's our question. What is the purpose? And I said, I would really like to figure this out. And then I heard about karma and dharma and all of these things. I said, wow, I would really like to know what's going on. Well, guess what? As you keep on knocking, okay, revelations comes, and I mentioned I received something called gnosis. Who speaks of gnosis? The Gnostics do. Okay, these were the early Christians, are the ones most closest to what was going on. And what has happened, and I mentioned this before, I'd like to explain a little more. You have the Egyptians, Thoth, okay, and others. You know what Thoth said? There is the way. He said that. Thoth, 5,000 years way before Jesus came. Jesus said the same thing. There is the way. The way what? The way out. The way out of what? What is it that we should be getting out of? Start thinking. I call it an energetic, nice word, cage. It'd be other words that we use for it, right? Mm-hmm. And then you start to say, okay, now I remember this quote from Harriet Tubman, and I always remember this. It made such an impact. And if you don't know who Harriet Tubman is, she was she was born into slavery, and then she freed herself. But guess what? She was service to others. Did she say, I'm free, that's it, I'm good? No. She said, if I'm free, I have to go and free others. If we have gnosis and we're on the path of ascension, do we keep it to ourselves? No. We got to let everybody else know. This is the ascension of the entire planet. But what she said was this, her quote, I could have freed a lot more slaves, but they did not know they were slaves. They were that indoctrinated. Hi, this is how life is. You're lucky to be alive and get some crumbs and all is good. That's the program. Unless there was someone in that lineage said, this is not right. This does not feel right. And I'm going to tell you about manipulation. Guess what? Did you know they had a special slave Bible? Now listen to this. This is what? 100 years ago? They had a slave Bible. They had, in there the Bible, but left out important things like you should be free and Moses and the Exodus. They left all of that out. They created a Bible that only took those things that supported their agenda. So if they could do that, and basically within the past 150 years, what did they do 2,000 years ago? What did they do 500 years ago? Okay, all of a sudden, Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. Like, what? There's a whole agenda for the patriarchy. Where does that come from? Something's not right. You look at nature. Aren't things balanced? Is something here and something else oppressed? And then many of us know about, of course, Eve, but nobody talks about Lilith. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. But I'd like to suggest as you go through your journey, and I recommend everybody at least see the perspective of the early Christians, okay, the Gnostic Gospels, Valentinus, I mean, amazing minds at the time, like Plato and Socrates. These were great minds. And then it gets suppressed to the point of, if you had a copy, you'll be dead. Service to self, you think? What's the agenda? Why is this happening? Why do you feel to suppress it? Because it has information there that will bring people to a higher understanding of realizing this is not the same God Jesus speaks of. My Father loves you, unconditional love, that all embracing. Who was the guy in the Old Testament? I will smite you. I'm a jealous God, and is the only one. I know people like that right now in this world at the moment. Don't you dare question me. I will smite you. I'm the only one. I'm like, oh my gosh. So there is the thought of the Gnostics that says the true pleroma of the divine spark of which we come into, of which we truly are, somehow different versions of it are trapped. In other words, we're trapped light. So where it's really going on, it's not so much in the material world. Yeah, it's nice. You have emotions and things like that, and and have that experience, and not to take away from the many layers, not just one thing. Yeah, we have experiences, and part of our experiences is for our growth. And yes, this can be considered a school and many different things. And yes, there can be incarnation and so forth, but it comes to a point, well, like, wow, I feel I've been here many, many times before. When do I get off? When do I get out? Okay. And you're like saying there's sort of like the concept of a glass ceiling. Like, and you say, I think I have to break through the glass ceiling. I got to do something that's beyond my comfort zone. I may have to risk my entire paradigm of thinking. Oh my gosh. I may have to risk being alienated by my family and other people for being my authentic self. But when you choose to be your authentic self, you know what ends up happening? I remember my brother growing up saying, oh my God, my sister's crazy. And more like, okay. Then years later, he calls me up for my advice and insights. Like, what if we did not have the bravery, okay, and say, I always felt I should have done that, but I didn't. I was concerned about what other people thought. Okay, and you go to the pearly gates and say, Pete says, hey, you were supposed to do this. What happened? He said, well, I was going to, but, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not going to fly. I'm just letting you know. It's not going to fly. not going to fly. So the best thing that you can do is be your authentic self. Remember where you come from. You're not this. You come from the highest of the aeons. The pleroma, what the Gnostics called the pleroma, the spark of great light that is anchored in unconditional love. That's where you come from. And yeah, I guess it's the great, I don't know, universal experiment. You have different groups doing different things, but I can't speak for the others. I can only speak to Homo sapiens sapien. That's the only ones I could speak to. And I know for a fact, for me, that we come from the highest celestial realms of light. And for those of us that are awake or awakening, okay, we have a job to do. What an exciting time! Okay, we're not going to go to Wave Atlantis again. We're going to rise and we are going to do this. And what can you do as a light worker? Keep the vibe high. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall in bringing down your energy. That's the goal. No matter what, take a rest, take a deep breath, and keep vibing high. With that, I'll say namaste, beautiful family of light on Facebook Live. We will see you next time. And oh, before I go, I wanted to share with everybody that we're going to have this amazing concert. It's going to be on the 12th of July at 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 here at the Cosmic Center. If you're a local, go into our calendar of events so you will see it. He has an amazing story and he sings like an angel. So I'm going to ask you to do that. And then the other thing too, if you could pass me that, I want to shout out to this beautiful, beautiful, look at this. This is the flower of life. And that is our sixth macabre, and it was done by Marvin in Arkansas. And the whole idea of going to Arkansas was to raise the vibration. So only you can raise the vibration unique to you, or you feel called to do something with a group, because you are the ones who we've been waiting for. It's us. It's us. It's not some government agency or whatever, or king, or no, it's us. We're the ones to do it. With that, namaste, beautiful family of light. See you, Donna.